Okay, well, good morning everybody. I'm Andrew from Hobbies Australia, and we're here for our next episode of Show Us Your Kits. Now today we're going to be looking at a new offering from Zvezda, their kit 7321, the C-130H Hercules. This has been a kit that has been very eagerly awaited here at Hobbies Australia. We have got stock of this arriving. We had hoped it would be literally here within the next couple of days. Unfortunately, with COVID and the freight delays, we're going to see this land in Sydney on or around the 23rd of December, and we'll be shipping this out as quickly as we can. So it should be available in retail stores and with Australian online retailers between that Christmas and New Year period. Look, with this kit, when the sample arrived on my desk, I actually did a little bit something a little bit different. Normally we would do the video and then we'd break open the bags and go through it that way. I was very excited about this kit because we've been doing a lot of work in the background on this. So what I actually did was got it home the first day I got it, opened up the bags, cleaned up all the sprues, and then started fitting parts together to look at fits and panel lines and all that sort of stuff. So we'll go through this now, have a look at it. Yeah, a lot of the parts are off the sprues, but that's my doing. So let's just hook into this and let's get stuck in. So, traditional boxing from Zvezda. We've got the nice colourful box art. We've got the various decal and marking options on the side of the box. On the back, we have some pictures of the completed kit. Okay, paint call out in Zvezda's own brand and also in Tamiya. Traditional opening, top opening box, and when we open it up, we did have 3 bags of sprues plus a few other bits and pieces. Now, as you can see, I pretty much jumped into this because there were some things that I wanted to really get all over. Okay, so the first thing that we see, let's have a look at the decal options. And this is a little bit interesting. Zvezda market this kit as a C-130H, but when you go through and have a look at this, you'll actually notice that there's 3 different variants of the C-130 included. So, pardon me. So we've got a Polish version, which was a C version upgraded to an H. So we've got the H and the C there straight away. Standard colour scheme looks very nice, something a little bit different. An ex-Warsaw Pact country operating a military airlifter that was synonymous with NATO and the Western powers. So the fact that the Polish are now on board with NATO, indication of how things have changed. We've got a nice striking green scheme here from the South Korean Air Force operating the H model. We've got the Japanese version. And some of you may remember this actual aircraft or this squadron from the Japanese Air Self-Defence Force was actually in Australia earlier this year offering support during the bushfire crisis. Okay, bit of a local connection there. We have the American Air National Guard in the traditional low-vis grey scheme that the Americans use and operate. And then the last one is the Royal Air Force. Now, the Royal Air Force, this is a K variant, so that's the 3rd variant. So we've got a C, we've got an H, and we've got a K model of the C-130 all in the one box. Really nicely done. Yeah, fantastic. So if we look here at the decals, and I'll get that out of the way, there's 2 sheets incorporated. This is obviously all your wing walk marks. A little bit of a different sort of take on this, whereas in past we would normally have just the thin lines. Zvezda this time have opted for these big decals, so it's a one-piece decal. Easier possibly to use, but there's going to be a heck of a lot of carrier film left over, so you know you're really going to have to make the decision on whether or what you actually want to do here. The other decal sheet that comes through is for all the national markings. Some really nice work there for the cockpit. There's the British nose art, 2 fat slags. Not really sure about that, but anyway, there you go. So that's the decals, nicely rendered. Colour register looks good. Doesn't seem to be excessive carrier film, except of course with these big ones. Okay, but that's going to be up to the individual modeler. What he or she does with that, whether or not you might like to mask it and then paint it, but there are other options going to be available. One of the things that we're really passionate about here at Hobbies Australia is being able to recognise our local Defence Forces. So when the C-130H was announced, it was a bit of a no-brainer that we were going to have to do Australian markings for this. That's a proof sheet. of what will be available, or what will be coming in the box. And this is an aircraft from number 37 Squadron RAAF, operating from RAAF Richmond. This is going to be very nicely done. We're waiting on these to be finalised, but they will be included and shipped with the kit. So let's have a look at the sprues, and we'll go, actually we might look at the instructions first. So, traditional A4 Zvezda offering, sprue layout, nicely done. We start with the cockpit. Cockpit is very nicely done. 1/72, it is a small scale, yes, but the cockpit is quite busy. There's seats there for the 4-man crew. The decals for all the various consoles are there. They're bright, they're colourful. They will show through the clear parts. It'll be more probably a blur of colour rather than clear definition, but it's nice to see the attention to detail. Okay, pretty straightforward. We've even got multi-part 3-man flight deck crew. When you get this kit and you start to have a look at it, you'll notice that obviously Zvezda are planning to use this kit or these moulds for a number of models. The first thing I would say, looking at some of the bits and pieces that are in the kit, we're going to see a Special Forces operation variant in here, probably a gunship, and I'd say that will follow fairly quickly. Okay, we start to get here and now we start to see what's going to be happening moving forward. We need to reduce the length of some of the parts that are in the cargo hold. Now that tells me that we are going to see a J version, and we're going to see a J version fairly soon. The J is the stretched version of the Hercules, and that is currently what our Air Force use. The H models were retired some years ago and were moved on to the Indonesian Air Force, and 37 Squadron now operates the J variant. But again, when we have a look at here, you know, we've got the cabling conduits, we've got a rendition of the soundproofing that's on the walls of the cargo compartment. Zvezda have done a really nice job with this. This is a brand new mould. There's nothing being reused in here. So where we see the old Airfix kit and the Italeri kit, this is a totally new offering, and this is going to be exceptionally well received. So let's have a look at some of the sprues. So first one we've got, here are the clear transparent parts. And as you can see, they're very, very nicely rendered. Okay, they're crisp, there's no flash. A couple of knockout marks, but you know, that's okay, they'll trim out well. Personally, like anything I'm using lately with clear transparent parts, I'm going to be giving this a bath in the Deluxe materials. Looks like glass. I find this a really, really good product. It can be brushed on, it can be sprayed, you can dip the parts in, you know, whatever takes your fancy, really nicely done and easy to use. I guess the most exciting part of, let's have a look at this, open that up, let's have a look at the fuselage. Okay, well, it certainly looks like a Hercules, doesn't it? We've got wheel well interior moulded there. If we have a look at that one, we'll see a rendition there of the acoustic soundproofing material that lines the cargo compartment. Okay, it's subtle, and that's fair enough, because in a 1/72 you're not actually going to be able to see a lot of the detail inside, but we know it's there. Any knockout marks are hidden up in here, again, which won't be seen. We've got the cutouts there for the various loading positions, crew door, paratroop door, and then of course, you know, the main exit. What I did with this, as I said, I got this home. One thing I did notice when I cleaned up all the sprues, which I always do, is that the mould release agent on this particular model was quite thick, so it did take a little bit of work to clean it up. So a couple of drops of dishwashing liquid in some warm water, and then scrubbed it with an old toothbrush and rinsed it in running water was the only way, or the best way to do it, to make sure that it would be all okay and ready to use. You know, bang, there she is. Okay, fit looks good. Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of teasing and popping to get that into place, but using, you know, the right adhesive and getting everything ready, and with the internal structures in place to give it some support, should be quite easy to do. One of the things I did point out was the various nose cones, 1, 2, 3, with all the various rakes and strakes and bits and pieces on it. You know, if we flick that over, hollow, beautiful. Now, guess what? Liquid gravity, designed specifically for a task like this. I'll pour the liquid gravity in, I'll put in some rocket, I'll put in some more liquid gravity, I'll put in some more rocket, I'll build up a good weight in that nose. So this aircraft is not a tail sitter. Various fairings for the wheel wells, various lumps and bumps, so that's all nice. Fuel tank, parts of the cockpit, parts of the crew. So the captain, the aircraft captain, you know, that shows the guys with their earphones on, their headpieces on. The pilot's wearing sunglasses. You know, it's just nicely done. Do you need to put the pilots in? It's entirely up to you, but they're there. They're a multi-part. I think they're probably well worth the effort, and they're a little bit of fun. Engine nacelles, as you can see, I've cut some of those off because I was working on the fit, and we'll have a look at those in a minute. But again, look, the panel line. Panel line marks are really nicely done. There's rivet detail there. It's not over the top. It's quite subtle. You know, some people say, oh, it's not enough. Other people say, oh, it's too much. But that's entirely up to you. You've got a good basis here to do as much additional scratch building as you would like to. You can see there the flattened wind wheels. Some people will say, oh, look, you know, that's probably too flat. Well, they're a low pressure tyre. They've got a fair bit of weight on them. So again, it's entirely up to the modeller if you want to improve or adjust that in any way, shape or form. Now, the wings. Zvezda will have you build like that. So bottom, top, airframe, and then this brings everything together. So there's no main spar, which is a little bit of a different take. When you build this, you're really going to be very much here a situation of measure twice, cut once. Your leading edge will be great, okay? You've got room there to work it if you need to, but see how the trailing edge is done? You're really going to have this bang on, because if you don't get that back join right, it's going to impact heavily on the front join, and that could cause you dramas. There's not a lot of room there to have to start trimming and filing and sanding, okay? So measure twice, cut once, please. All right, it's going to be a beautiful aircraft. We knew this aircraft was coming, and any of you who've spoken to me would know I've got a real passion for my military stuff, especially the Australian military, especially the Australian Air Force. So one of the success stories of COVID has been scale model supply, Scott Taylor, down in regional Victoria. Scott's carved out over the last couple of years a very, very strong and enviable reputation for attention to detail and for a very, very high quality product. In conjunction with Scott, we at Hobbies Australia have come to an agreement, and we are launching, to coincide with this aircraft, a special SMS colour set designed especially for the Lockheed C-130H Hercules. There's 4 colours in here. So one of the colours, Sac Bomber Green, currently is not in Scott's colour range. Neither is this set. Scott has agreed to put the sets together, and that Hobbies Australia will be the only Australian wholesaler for this set up to the 1st of July 2021. So if you want this set, if you want this colour, the only way you can get the colour is to buy the set. The only way to get the set is to buy it through Hobbies Australia. The aircraft itself will retail for $89.99. The paint set will retail for $39.99. Now, paints will be arriving in our warehouse over the next 10 days, and it's my intention to be able to ship to customers the model aircraft with the paint set in one package so that people can bundle it up. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of intense excitement about the aircraft. Having the paint set there will make it easier for the customer, will make it easier for the retailer. So this is something that we are very, very excited about. We're very pleased to welcome Scott and his wife Katrina to the Hobbies Australia family. We're looking forward to being able to do more things with these guys in the future. So that's it for the Zvezda C-130H 7321 with now the Australian markings for number 37 Squadron RAAF, and the SMS Paint Set. The code for us will be SMS-RAAF01. That stock will be available towards the end of this month, and we'll be shipping it between the Christmas and New Year period. So until then, or until next time, Guys, again, thank you very much for your time, for your patience, for your support during what has been a very trying time for all of us. We couldn't have done or achieved what we've been able to do in 2020 without your support. So until next time, take care, build more kits, show us your kits. Take care. Bye-bye.